This is the second installment of our three-part series into the three major documents required to get to an agreement of purchase and sale and the agreement of purchase and sale itself. This particular episode is about the buyer representation agreement, in this case, a designated buyer representation agreement. I will go through that form with you in detail to some degree, but remember, if you need more description, you're always welcome to contact us for more details. Okay, so you're a buyer. You've already been given the RICO information guide, which explains the agency to you. And now you're looking at the buyer designated representation agreement. What this means is that you are working with a brokerage. In this case, it'll be LePage, Terrequity. Your names would be here as buyers and your address. Your designated representatives are the agents that are assigned to your file exclusively. So if another agent is representing a listing in that brokerage, but it's not the agency you have on file, it's not dual agency. This is a new advent under the TRESA Act. So now the buyer agency agreement has to have a period in time where it begins and ends. Every contract should have a commencement and a termination. Under TRESA, it explains here that you have to initial knowing that these times are negotiable. They can be longer, shorter. Before, it used to be 6 months. You initialed here. Now, on all instances, you initial time. Okay, these two are important. What do you ask you to be represented for? It could be residential, commercial, specific type of property, condominium. Here, geographic location. This is significant because if it says one address here, that's all you're obliged to the buyer broker for. If it says City of Toronto, Ontario, anything that you look at or buy in this time frame would be subject to this geographic constraint. Now, next major thing, commission. If this says 3% commission and you are offered as a buyer agent 2.5% by the listing, that means that there's a 0.5% difference that your buyer agent could come after you for on closing. So always make sure that this number, if you don't want to have a hidden surprise of costs on closing, is below the standard of 2.5%. As we go through here, there's a holdover provision on the second page. What that means is if I introduce you to a property, for instance, 30 to 60 to 90 days after, if I've introduced it to you, you still have to come back to me to work an agreement should you need to. So it's like a holdover leans over the back of the agreement, so you're not waiting for it to expire to make a private deal. All commissions are subject to HST, taxes. Multiple representation explains that if I list and sell a property to you, there are constraints onto what can be disclosed between the two parties. This is a big deal for fraud, so there's quite a bit of it in all the documents. 5 is important. If you see a property and you want to know more about it, don't contact the agent. You got to get a hold of your buyer agent. That's why you've contracted them to help you. And if we scroll down further, you can have a consumer report drafted on you. It almost never happens. And usually only happens in rentals, which is odd. Successors and assigns, God forbid, if you pass away, your estate still follows through with any agreements that have been done. You can use electronic signatures in communication. And also, too, as you scroll down, this declaration of insurance is critical because it's not just insurance for liability or in the instance there's a mistake made. What this insurance also protects you from is if your deposit is taken, which is what happened with that iPro Realty conflict recently. Actually, our insurance as buyer agents will cover you, I believe, up to $200,000. And then specific performance in the schedule. What will the buyer agent do to help represent you? Show you properties, go through documents with you, explain them. So that's buyer agency in a nutshell, designated buyer agency. In some instances, you'll see other documents like what conditions you'll have in your agreement. There'll be other ancillary documents that run with this as well, but this is the primary contract between a buyer and their designated agents. Okay, so that was a cursory look at the buyer representation agreement. It was short, but it does give you a crux of what your major expectations are between you and your buyer agent. I'm Eric Mattei. Have a great day.